And as I began to look into purpose and to determine what I was going to talk about, it really gave me an opportunity to hopefully share some information with you. First of all, I need you to know, or you should know, or hopefully I'm telling you information. Excuse me, my phone is ringing here. That the 7 principles, or the holiday of Kwanzaa, was created by Malanga Karenge. And he created it because he believed that we humans have a collective vocation of building and developing our community. That's the whole purpose of the 7 principles, and specifically of NIA. So I want to talk about purpose. I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Karenge at Temple University here in Philadelphia. By the way, I'm from Philadelphia, and I heard it's very cold in Minnesota. So I definitely won't be visiting you out with 40-degree weather, because anything below 70 for me is winter. But it's 30 here in Philadelphia. But it's just that he had the vision, the building and developing our community. And he also believed that our purpose as human beings, that we were selected and chosen to bring good into the world. Think about that for a second. Our job as human beings is to bring good into the world. Wow, that's an awesome responsibility. So I want to talk for a few moments about what he saw as the 4 components of NIA. He believed to make a commitment to the collective vocation of building and developing and defending our community, its culture, its history, in order to regain the historic initiative of greatness as a people, and do bring good and beauty to the world. His 4 components were collective vocation, custodians of great legacy, generational responsibility, and joining of our personal and social purpose. I want to talk about each of those components for just a moment. What is collective vocation? He believed that it is our shared responsibility to build and develop our community, our culture, and our history, which means that each of us have a responsibility to contribute to building. So each of us have to take on that personal responsibility. We have to purposely take it on. We also have to intentionally do it. And we also, how do we teach that to our children to become collective builders of our community? And I can truly say that our children have missed it, but I can't blame the children, because only what is taught to them will they do. I have been teaching, as I said, for a long time, and children will do exactly what they are allowed to do. And so our children today are functioning because someone hasn't passed on that responsibility. Someone hasn't taught them. In other words, teaching, and all of the teachers on this Zoom understand, teaching has to be intentional. If I want my children to have certain values, I have to teach it. More than teach it, I have to exemplify it. I have to be a role model. And if we're not being that, our children are not going to learn it. What are our children learning today? If we look at social media, if we look at TV, if we look at everything around it, it's very negative. So therefore, what should we expect except that our children be negative? And I was talking to another young family today, and then she was saying she literally had to take the phone from her child because of all the things that she was getting on TikTok and social media. Her child was changing her language. These were not the values. So we have to be, as adults, we have to be conscious. We have not done our job well for this generation. Dr. Karinga also felt that our children, that we needed to be custodians of a great legacy. Well, African Americans, we have a great legacy in the world, stemming all the way back to Africa and Egypt. But have we been good custodians of that heritage? Have we taught our children about that heritage, that legacy? How have we purposely instructed our children to carry on the legacy? Many of you that might be seniors as I am, I remember the thoughts I had. I couldn't embarrass my family. I couldn't embarrass our family's name. I had to be a good person because it would get back to my family, it would hurt them. So I was very conscious of that. I don't know too many kids that are feeling or saying that today. They're just not. In fact, they have a whole nother concept. We had a great deal of respect for elders. We knew that our elders brought us wisdom and knowledge. Children think nothing of cussing an older person out, pushing them down, doing whatever they think they want to do. Why is that? That responsibility was instilled in me from my parents and my grandparents. Then we can't blame the babies if they don't have it. It's just that simple. So if we want our children to be heirs of a great legacy, we have to teach that legacy. We have to teach about our culture, no matter what culture it is. We have to teach about it because there's greatness in it, and our children have to breathe it in and feel it on an everyday basis in order then to feel some connection to it. Our children are disconnected at this particular time. Another thing Dr. Karenga believed that NIA was, in terms of purpose, was generational responsibility. And I've already brushed on that a little bit. I knew I couldn't embarrass my mother or my grandmother or my family. I felt it. Everything that I did, even as a teenager, I remember, oh, I couldn't act this way. Some of my friends wanted to go and cut school, or they wanted to go over somebody's house. And I'm like, oh, I can't do that. It's not that I was just a goody two-shoes, but I really felt connected to not wanting to embarrass or make my family feel bad, not wanting to hurt my mother or my father, or that my grandmother would be my grandmother was disappointed in me. I just couldn't stand it because my grandmother was very, very important to me. She was a teacher and I kind of followed her desire to be a teacher. So she was very, very important to me. Our grandmothers in the same place anymore. Some of our kids don't even want to visit their grandmothers or care about their grandmothers. So again, the generational response to the sense of belonging, the sense of they have an impact right now today with the things that they can do. And young people today can feel and can do things that perpetuate the responsibility, but we have to teach them how if we have not done that. And another principle or a component of the NIA was our personal and social purpose had to be connected. Whatever we did in our personal life had to be connected to our social life, had to be connected to the big picture. And again, our kids just don't have that connection. So nothing, he says, true greatness and growth never occurs in isolation and at others' expense. Again, if our children really understood that I can't grow, I can't be great if I hurt other people, that just can't happen. That's not a part of NIA. That's not a purpose. That's not why we're here on this planet as human beings. Our responsibility as human beings, our purpose, Karengi says, is that surely human beings were chosen to bring good to the world. And that is the essence of our purpose as being humans. So again, I stress as a teacher that we begin to intentionally and very purposefully teach the concept of a child's purpose. Ask that child, what is your purpose? What do you want to do? How can you, as a young person, bring about purpose and bringing good to the world? Something as simple as kindness. I hear young people today, and the way they interact and talk to each other is just mean, just absolutely mean. I caught my niece, and she's only 4 years old. I was driving her home from preschool, and she was driving, and she says, "Ooh, I don't like her shoes. She's ugly." And I'm like, "Why did you say that? That girl didn't do anything to you. How dare you talk about her shoes? Maybe that's the only pair she has." Because we were taught, if you don't have something nice to say, shut up. That's what we were taught. but to be me. And then she said something in the car. She said, this is a 4-year-old. She said to my adopted baby, 4 years old. She said, because you didn't let me share your toy, I'm going to tell all the kids in school not to play with you tomorrow. Just being mean. And I turned around and said to her, first of all, who are you to do that? You don't have that kind of power to tell somebody not to play with it. And you're just being mean. So you go sit in the side there because we don't really want to. We don't want to talk to you right now. Do you know how to be kind? So teaching kindness, teaching how to help. Young people know how to help. I talked to them a little bit. Well, it's your job to help mommy when I need to do something, when I need to bring in groceries, or when I need to sweep the floor. Help is another thing. But children have to see kindness and helping. And what do they see on the TV? Anger, killing, shooting. So they think that's normal. Let me give you another example. When I was raising my granddaughter, who's now 26, but she was about 11 or 12, and I was talking to her about sexting and this whole concept of sending private body parts to different people and I said, if I ever catch you do it, I'm going to call the police. I don't care because sexting is wrong. And she looked at me with a very innocent 11, 12-year-old face and said, why are you making such a big deal? Everybody's doing it. It shocked me because she had such a nonchalant attitude about your body, which is your temple that God has given you, and that you think it's okay. We've missed it somehow. We've missed it. And there's so much bombardment coming in from the outside world that we have to surround our children. And we have to be okay with them being angry with us. I tell my babies, I'm not here. God did not place me with you to be your friend. I'm your parent. And I have a responsibility to help you to grow to be the best person you can be. So that's my little spiel on purpose, building and developing our community, being and bringing beauty and goodness to the world. I'd like, if it's okay, to interact with your body to just get some input in terms of what they feel about purpose and how they're going about teaching, or we can collectively talk about how we do better job of what we have truly failed doing at this time.
Yes,
Tony?
and yes, and oh my God, that's phenomenal. I really appreciate what you're doing here, and the floor is open. This is a discussion about, what Nia and purpose mean to you, because that's what we have to give back to kids: meaning, purpose, the reason why they're here. Allow them to feel confident. I don't care what grade level they're in. When kids feel purpose, they get excited. When I come to the school and I see the little kids being helpers up at the front desk with Miss Yolanda, I can see the excitement on their face that they're doing something that has purpose to it, whether it's taking updated flyers to different classrooms and stuff like that, or whatever that teacher might have that kid doing to earn dojo points. It's purpose, and that purpose that you put in them now will go with them the rest of their life. Because if they're not getting it at home, we don't know what's going on in the home when they get to the school, right? And me, I can speak on this because I drove the bus for a couple of years. And when I retired from the union, I went into driving the bus, the school bus. And, I was driving the school bus with challenged kids. And doing that, them kids will act out. They will come on the bus and I could hear their parents or their parent cursing them out, calling them stupid MFs and you just like your father and stuff like this. So the kid is already feeling defeated. But as soon as they get on that bus, the minute they step on my bus, I say, how you doing? I know their name. I say, anything I can do to help you today. We're going to have some fun. I turn on the music they want to hear. It's all clean. And I interact with them kids. And within 2 to 3 weeks of driving that bus, them kids come on there, Mr. Tony, how you doing, Mr. Tony? I said, man, I'm doing better since you on my bus now. And we're going to have an awesome day driving you to school. I can't wait to pick you up later. And them kids light up like a Christmas tree. I done had them same parents that curse their kids out say they see a different behavior in their child. They will come to my bus with a thank you note saying, I am so happy you drive my child to school because you are making a difference in their life. So sometimes it's just a matter of changing the paradigm of how that kid feel when they're in your presence. See, we can't control other presence, but when they in your presence, what are you doing to make that difference? And I know as long as God has me on this earth, I'm definitely gonna make a difference in my son's life as well as any other kid that I come across. So I'm gonna pass this and open this forum up. You set the stage, Miss Mitchell, so you can ask her questions. But this is all of ours today, this evening, and we're here to communicate with each other. So the floor is open.
I would just like to say, I would just like to get some input back from your parents is how do they, or how do they recommend we teach purpose? How is purpose taught? Anyone?
Well, I'm not a teacher, but I guess I am a teacher. I'm a parent, so
Right.
I absolutely am a teacher, but not in the
Absolutely.
sense of like maybe an academic teacher per se. But just some of the things that you were saying was really resonating with me because I think that we haven't passed down enough of getting our kids to understand and respect their family name, right? When you were speaking about, I ain't doing nothing to mess up my name, my family's name, because I know what my mom gonna do or I know what my dad's gonna do. And it seems like those type of things in our community have just totally went away. There's no respect for our elders. I remember, I mean, I grew up in Detroit and I was under the same sort of concepts, and some of the things that you're saying I can relate to because I do remember uh, before I would make any type of move, I would always think about, okay, how's that going to affect my family? How is that going to affect this? And frankly, honestly, it was strategic thinking and critical thinking. I just didn't have a definition and a term for it at that time. But it was more just, hey, I'm not going to be on no funnies out here because, and then when you made the statement of, that's not to say I was a goody two shoes. You know, you did our fair share of whatever, but at the end of the day, we always knew where that line was and we weren't going to cross it. And when you were saying things about your younger family members, language that they're using, things that they're saying. I mean, I'm of the same way. You hear some stuff that come out of kids' mouth, and you just be like, "Whoa, okay." I mean, you know, and you might not teach that in your home, and you might not allow that in your home. But unfortunately, kids nowadays have so many other outlets that they're listening to. They got TikTok, they got Snapchat, they got Facebook, they got Twitter, they got everybody but their mom and their daddy, and their teacher is who they're listening to. And I know that that's where we have to come together collectively as a group and as a community to be able to overcome that. As Brother Tony had mentioned, that you know he can dictate kind of what goes on in his home or how he interacts, but we have to really figure out how do we get over the hurdle of all of those other 9 million outside influences that our kids are listening to.
That's a very good statement, sir. And you're so correct, because it is like, I personally feel it's like we're at war with the outside world, and that's not a good thing. But we're at war. I have to insulate my children. I have to be very clear about things that are not coming in the house, the things you are not going to look at, the things you are not saying, the way you're not going to dress. You can be angry with me, and that's okay. But that's not going to happen while you're here. And so my kids, you know, as I said, my biological children are grown. And several years ago, almost 7 years now, I took in a badly abused child. The first thing I noticed about her, which she had learned from her unfortunate biological mother, I couldn't take her in the store. She could steal everything off the shelf. And it took some time, but I started to saying, you know, I let her call me mama. My mom's girls just don't do things like that. I want to be proud of you. I want you to do great things. You really embarrassed me. You embarrass yourself. You look like you know you don't care about anything or anybody. And within, I'd say, 6 months, and to today, she's now 13. She's like, I am not a thief. So it took time, but it was just constantly integrating and things. And this is a child with a lot of baggage and a lot of trauma, but it's possible. So you can reach even the child that is the furthest out there. You know, even the young man that's standing on the corner with a gun, he's reachable if you reach out, you know? And as Tony was saying, I can't do it because he's not going to listen to me, those young men, but to listen to the men. I mean, both of you are old enough to know, you remember the old heads on the corner. You used to listen to them. They had wisdom and you knew it. So we've lost that. They don't listen to anybody right now. So we have to find a way for all of our children. We have to find a way that, young lady, how do you continue to be a young lady? It's not by disrobing. It's not by having your dress up to your neck or your top down to your knees. How do you be a beautiful young lady without showing your body? That's not about sex. It's about your body and understanding how beautiful it is. So it's a challenge, but we have to be purposeful about it. And we can't just shrug. You know, I once shared a story is that it was a young lady on the subway platform here in Philadelphia, and the little boy standing beside her son, kept on saying, "Mama, mama." She kept talking on the phone. "Mama, mama." She kept talking on the phone. "Mama, mama." I couldn't stand it anymore. I walked over to her. I said, "Baby, I know you might cuss me out, but he's a young man, a young Black man. You need to talk to your son now, because in a few years, he's not going to want to talk to you." And so she smiled at me, surprisingly. I just couldn't stand it. Nothing in me could say, I can't leave this woman doing this. You have to know how to put down your phone, young people. My sister just complaining. My niece is a wonderful mother. She provides, but she's on the phone. As soon as she gets in from work, she's on the phone. So her babies are talking to her, but she's on the phone. She's cooking, she's on the phone. She's washing, she's on the phone. Ah, if you don't have enough intelligence, put down the phone. This is family time. Because if you're not listening to them now, they're not going to listen to you in a little bit. And what are you going to say? You've modeled the behavior. You've shown them how. You know, and even my baby, sometimes I'm on classes, I'm taking online classes. She said, "Mom, it's time to put down the computer." I'm like, "You're right, baby." I close it down. It's your time. You know? So there are times that they're going to have to recognize that you have to be on the phone to take care of business. But there are times that they're special enough to close it down and pay attention to them. Because if you don't make them feel special, somebody in the world is going to make them feel. Somebody out there.
I wanted to say, you know, I went to a forum one time. It was gangbangers at this thing with city leaders, right? And these prominent leaders in Minnesota. And one of the mistakes the leaders did, they set their stuff and they was at this front table postured up like we over y'all, right?
Mhm.
Instead of being in a round table as equals, they already had posture, right? And they had open mic. So, but they was setting all the parameters, talking about all the things the gangbangers or you know, guys with their pants hanging down. They was telling all these bad things about what they doing, right? So one of the leaders of the gang got up and spoke. And he said, you know what, one of the problems we have with, you know, you older people, y'all forever criticizing. Y'all ever telling us what we're not doing, but you never came and had a conversation with us. And you never asked us how we feel, or you never asked us, why are you doing this? Right? Because all it is attention. They want attention, right? And they're gonna get it one way or another. If they don't get it from home, which is that agape love, because everybody want love in their life. I don't care if you're single, married, whatever. Everybody want love because that's how this universe is designed. It's designed with love first. But if you don't get love, you don't get it from home, you're gonna get it from somewhere else. Trust me. Whether it's gonna be in drugs, sex, whatever it may be, you're gonna find it, and it's gonna take your life down a road that you may not ever come back from. And why can I speak about this? Because I had a 17-year drug addiction. I know what it's like. I've been out there, right? But I'm also educated. I'm graduate from University of Minnesota labor law. See, so you can't tell me that a person can't change, right? But you got to get to them. You have to speak to them instead of accusing and say, look at them thugs on the corner. Whatever. Them same thugs that you're pointing fingers at to be the same thugs that come through your window. See, we can't keep separating ourselves like we're not part of the problem. We are part of the problem. And if we keep dividing culture, well, you white, that's Asian, they don't have anything. Oh, yeah, it will have something to do with you. Okay, because we know here in Minnesota and all over Philadelphia is crazy too, the carjacking that's going on and the robbing that's going on. It's not in the inner city no more, it's out in the suburbs now. And these are 13-year-olds. It was 4 girls, 13, 14-year-old that robbed this older lady, took her purse, tried to get her car, but they 13 and 14-year-olds. This is insane, right? So part of it is in you know, when I was mentoring that Team Challenge, the first thing I would sit down with whoever they assigned me to is I would tell them my story. I didn't ask them why you in here. I didn't start pointing fingers and say, oh, the system had you in. No, because if you do that, they're gonna get defensive. I tell them my story, and as soon as they hear my story, they say, you been through that? Oh my God. I'm like, yep, I'm 29 years clean. I don't think about a drug, but how to get it off the street. That's how I think about it, because I know how to tear families down, and I know no one coming to this world say I want to be a drug addict. Or I want to be on some corner bombing. Nobody comes like that. Something happened. Something happened to this child or this young person or this adult where nobody is hugging them anymore. Nobody is telling them I love you. I don't care what your talent is. Okay, because most of the problems I hear now is mental health. It's mental health. And instead of us helping, we're pushing them back out to society thinking that the system has the answer. No, it don't. The system is the system. So these type of programs, these type of meetings, us coming together as family, we may not see a whole bunch of interaction right now, but that's what we're here for. We're here to spread the word however we can spread it, to show intention, to show love, to show that we care, and to quit pointing fingers at who's not doing this, right? Because at the end of the day, my child that goes to Friendship Academy, I want him to come in that environment and feel safe. I want him to be able to come in that environment and focus on learning, not worrying about somebody hurting him. So that's why it's all our job to work together, because we want not only the kids to be safe, but we want the teachers to be safe. We want the staff to be safe. You know, the principal, we want everybody to be safe, because we know what's going on and we can't turn a blind eye like it won't happen in our backyard. It's happening everywhere. And it's a bad, that's the new virus, they say. That's the plague. It's the robberies and the things that's going on with our kids. And they're looking for some direction. I make sure I have conversation. I'm a pass it, but I had a conversation. I can tell when something is wrong with my son. We talk. And, you know, he said, well, Daddy, you know, I don't say anything because you're gonna get mad. I say, no, son, tell me, talk to me. We have to communicate, son. I need to know what's going on with you. And he said, well, you know, kids, this was a couple years ago. Kids say, one kid said, I'm not cool. So you know how the other kids join in. You ain't cool, this, that, and the other. You know, kids can be brutal. And I asked my son, I say, what's the definition of cool? He couldn't even tell me. See, so he's getting upset about being made fun of, but they don't even know what the definition of cool is. I said, well, let me explain to you what cool is, son. Cool is you doing what your parents tell you to do first. Second is you go to school and you do what them teachers tell you to do. Cool is reading your book, doing your homework, studying, being smart, being something. You know, cool is not in your walk, it's not in your talk, it's about you being obedient. That's cool. And I say, you the coolest kid I've met in my life, even though you my son. And he lit up like a Christmas tree. And he cried. And he said, thank you, Daddy. And from that day forward, going to school, he didn't worry about what them kids say because I put that in them every day. And I say, they're going to talk about your son, whether you're doing good or bad. That's just people. Whether whoever you believe in, I don't care. But my Savior, Jesus Christ, they hung him to a cross. And all he had did was came to help people. So if they'd do it to him, what you think they'll do to you? So I always instill in him and empower him, son, your haters are going to hate. That means you're doing something right. See, that's cool when they're talking about you because that means you shining, son. So keep shining. So
one of the things I used to tell to all of my children, I said, don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to be different. My mentors, who was C. Dolores Tucker and Shirley Chisholm and things, I've had an opportunity to sit down with these women and have lunch and things with them, or at their knee, I always said. But one of them was Ona C. Weldon, and she used to hold up this picture to us at our meetings, and she used to say, it used to be a bag or a basket of red apples or a basket of green apples. And she said, don't ever be afraid to be that red apple, that one different person. It's okay, because that's the real leader. You can always be a green apple, but being a red apple is the difference. And we were adults at that time. And she would encourage us, don't be afraid to be different. And being different is okay. Our kids are also sort of about, she or he is not my friend. Your best friend, you need to teach our kids, is yourself. Your best friend is yourself and your parents first, everybody else second. So, our kids want to belong because human nature wants us to belong. We need to belong to a group. That's why, Tony, you're doing such a good job because your son feels he belongs to you and you're his first. And the other dad here, the children need to know that they are safe, secured, respected, appreciated, uplifted, all of those things. That purpose that is your in the household. If they're strong in the household, the outside they can weather. But if they don't feel connected, appreciated, spoken to, heard, they're going to find some place that somebody's going to listen to them. And they're going to tell them things you don't want them to know or you don't want them to do. But at least he's my friend. So it's so important. I just want to address a couple of things that I see in the chat. First of all, I just want to acknowledge the name of the school is Friendship Academy. That's awesome. That means somebody who established the charter school had the purpose and intention of saying friendship or connection. That's awesome. So that I'm assuming that process or that purpose is filtered throughout the school. I'll just make that assumption because it's called Friendship Academy. The other thing that I want to mention is that when I talked about legacy and all of that through Kwanzaa, they said that Black history is taught in February. And the sad thing is American history that is Asian, Black, Indian, and whatever else should be history of our country, not just taught at Black history or Puerto Rican history or Asian history. It's sad that we got to segment it. That history of this country should be taught through all cultures. And there's some dynamic history throughout from every culture and contribution to this country of the United States of America. And it's unfortunate, but I'm glad to see that your social studies department in the middle school does a good job of doing a multicultural kind of integration. But our kids won't know the history if somebody doesn't teach it to them. They won't feel proud if somebody doesn't teach it to them. So that's so very, very important. And I can't express. And then what else, someone else said, what was it? Kids only learn about our history once a month in Black history. And that's really, really sad. And I do hope that everyone here gets an opportunity to go to the Black History Museum in Washington, D.C. It's phenomenal and definitely worth a visit for everybody to go and see that. I'm trying to see if there's any other comments here. Oh, Ms. Thompson says, it's so sad how much these kids idolize YouTubers and influencers. And I just will say, it's not, I think social media and technology is important. God put it here for us to learn. So it's important and it has a place. The problem is when it overtakes our children and their thought processes, that's when it becomes a problem. But that only happened because we allowed it to. We agreed to the shows that were on. We agreed to allow, because if we didn't want it and we speak up and it doesn't get on. But all the stuff that's on is what we've allowed. Oh, it's okay. They can see that. Then what we have is what we have. And you are correct. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber or an influencer, you know, because that's what young people think make money. And it's sad, but that's what it did. That happens. Any other comments?
I think Mr. Chavez Russell, he's one of the pioneers of Friendship Academy, and you know, him and his dad. So I don't know if he can come off and speak.
I would love to know his reason behind friendship. What was his purpose?
I would love to hear from him if he can come off and speak. I'm not sure. Hey.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm not on camera, but I've been enjoying. I've heard every word, and we're so thankful for purpose. You know, I'm not one of the founders, but I tell you what, we do have the daughter of one of our founders. Well, two daughters. They actually the head of our family and community collaboration team, and Miss Joe and Miss Smith. So both of their mothers were a part of the founding group 21 years ago. Actually, it started planning 23 years ago when the pastor of Greater Friendship at the time, Dr. James Porter, had a vision to really create a school that could really close the achievement gap and serve the purpose, like that word, of education. You know, at the time there were art programs were going away, so we wanted to focus on the arts because we are artistic people. So that is right in line with what been said tonight in terms of just purpose, because friendship, our goal is to live it out every day. Uncovering passion, revealing purpose is one of our taglines. We serve the whole child. And that has in the center of that, our motto, we have a whole child motto in the shape of a wheel. And at the center of it is what we call the friendship way, where we really focus on building and maintaining positive relationships. Because as the better we can, the better relationships we can have, the more we can really uncover each other's purpose, and we can get out of this constant living in trauma, from trauma to trauma, from trauma to trauma, waiting on the next thing to happen, as opposed to just being free and trusting one another, you know, and living out our own purpose and helping somebody else discover theirs, instead of you know, looking for something wrong. You know, that's just an outcome of just the what we've been taught, like we said earlier tonight. But we have the opportunity right now to change that, you know, to change that in our homes, to change that with our kids, to change that every day at the school. And that's the idea, is that when they leave Friendship Academy in 8th grade, that they will be leaders in our community, leaders that understand what their purpose is, leaders that respect other cultures, and inclusive, and lifelong learners, ones that are constantly trying to uncover their purpose, because purpose comes in seasons. You know, my purpose at 13 is different than my purpose at 23. My purpose at 33 is different than my purpose at 23. And I think I'm almost 43 right now. And you know, I'm either 41 or 42. I keep going back and forth. But my purpose now in this season of my life is different than that when I was 33. I've learned a lot more. I've become a lot more. I've interacted a lot more. And I constantly look for what is my purpose today, right now in this season. So, and that's what we want to do at Friendship Academy, is just help uncover that each and every day. So thank you all. This is an awesome time. And I'd seen we recorded it, so we'll definitely have it on our YouTube channel as well.
And before you, Ms. Mitchell, before you come back, and we got like 8 minutes. Dr. James Porter, you know, when I first moved to Minnesota in 92, I was looking for a church. And Greater Friendship was across from Sabbathean back then. And I went to that church, and I actually got rebaptized on that pulpit floor, where they opened up in the floor and they dip you down. So, wow, I didn't know that, Mr. Russell. So the history, that's why history is so important, you know.
Right.
If you don't know your history repeats itself, right? So that's awesome to know, you know, about Mr. Porter, because he's the one who dipped me here in Minnesota. Go ahead, Ms. Mitchell.
Now, I was just saying, following up what Mr. Russell was saying, is that I'm so happy to hear that the purpose of Friendship Academy is to help the young people identify their own purpose. Remember that you kids, no matter how old they are, you can set them on a path of purpose just by asking them or sharing with them, you know, you want to be a good person, you want to help the world. How do you think you can do that? My 4-year-old understands that. So it's age, but as Mr. Russell was saying, by the time the kids get to 8th grade, now they're 13 and 14 years old, they will be leaders. They will be leaders. And that's so important to understand. Being a leader means I'm not a follower. Being a leader means I'm not afraid to do something different. And it's important that our kids, get to understanding that that's what they want to be, so that they don't have to go the way that their friends may be going. And it's okay that you make a decision to say, no, I'm not doing that. But that has to come from within, because when you're not there as a parent, you got to make that decision themselves. So you have to give them the strength, as Tony was talking to his child about what is cool. I used to say, again, to my children, I want you not to be like anybody else, and it's okay. And if they call you weird, say thank you. If they call you a nerd, say thank you. That's what I want to be. And it's okay to be like no one else. You want to be different. If everybody is wearing a red dress, you want to wear a blue. Okay? If everyone is wearing designer clothes, one of the things my kids, when they were first coming out with designer clothes, I used to say, sweetie, mommy sews. So if anybody's name is on your behind, it's going to be mine. Okay? I know how to embroider. I'm not paying $300 for a pair of sneakers when I can get them for $35 to $50. I'm not doing that. I'm not paying a bunch of money because it's Gucci or whoever they are. You want something different? I'll show you how to sew and how to embroider and how to make your clothes that you are different than anybody else. Everybody else. Also, just to mention that you talked about the arts. The arts is one of the most critical things. I had a theater for over 25 years because I found kids learn. Some kids who are shy and bashful, get them up on stage slowly and surely. Dancing is math. Drumming is math. So all these kinds of things that you can instill academic principles through the arts. That's why I teach a course called Smarts Through the Arts, because there's so much that you can do. I've had children that didn't read before they had a script in their hand, and then all of a sudden they want to read everything. So so I'm glad to hear that Friendship Academy is doing that. And I've just enjoyed it so much. I hope that you took in something that I had to say was meaningful to you. And thank you so much, Tony. Anything else, any input before I close
Well, I
out?
just want to say this last thing. You know, every time I pick my son up for school, I always say, "How was your day? What was your challenge today?" You know, you got mad at the teacher, why? You know, we talk it out. And you know, when kids on their lunch, they talk about certain things. So they say, you know, some kids talk about their parents got this and this type of car and this type. I say, we never compare.
Mm.
What you do is say, "Oh, that's awesome. That's nice your parents got that." Because see, they looking for some back and forth to say, "I'm better than you," or "My parents better than you." I say, "No, son, celebrate them." It's a reverse psychology. See, they expect you to come back and say, "Oh, my dad got this," or "My mom." I said, "No, no, no." If they say, you know, "We got the latest this," and it's like, "Man, for real, oh, I would love you to show me a picture one day." You know, I'm happy for you and your parents, man. I hope they keep getting nice things. Don't argue with them. Celebrate them. See, you don't give your enemy, you don't stab him back. Give him water. You know,
Mm.
like good books say, feed them. You know, you don't pray for their demise. You pray for their success, and let the man upstairs take care of the rest. So I teach my son that. I said, "No, son, we ain't in competition with anybody. Okay, if you want to compete with somebody, compete with yourself to get better every day. See,
Yeah,
get better
absolutely.
today than you was yesterday. That's how you know that's progress, right?" So, Miss Mitchell, you've been a bright spot to this
Thank
program tonight. I'm so thankful that you accepted to be here, and look forward to hopefully have you in the future. You know, if everybody is okay with that. And I'm just excited. You know, if it wasn't for Miss Smith challenging me, okay, when I was coming to school, and my son mom, she works at the front desk at school, and she said, "You need to run for president." I said, "I'm not running for anything." I
you.
said, "I'm full. I got too much going on my plate." And she said, "No, no, I think you'd be good." I said, "No, I don't have time." Then Miss Smith, I don't know if there's a collaboration or it was a spirit or what else. She came in and she said, "We have our family engagement, and I want you, to see if you're wrong for something." And I'm standing back from her. She like, "What's wrong with him?" And I got these frowns on my face. I'm like, I'm cool. I'm good. She said, "No, because if you don't be involved as a parent, that means we gonna dictate everything." That's
Mm.
what she told me. And I say, "You're right, because see, we used to have PTA back in my mom in them days, right? My mom was very involved. She was at that school so much, I got tired of seeing my mom. They be like, 'Oh, they call your mama, you in trouble?'" I'm like, "Where's she at?" But you encouraged me, Miss Smith, to get involved. And that's exactly the example that you displayed of somebody who really wasn't trying to be part of something. Because you came to me and you were sincere, it allowed me to be involved. And I think if we all do that, if we all just, encourage, and don't be so quick because they say no, because there's two ways to spell no: N-O and K-N-O-W. And see, K-N-O-W mean no, not right now, or no, I don't know enough, right? And then N-O might also mean no, not right now. So we always look at that word no as something negative. It's like, I ain't going back to reapproach. No, be like the woman that kept knocking on the door till she got a piece of bread. And then eventually that person say, "You know what? Let me see what this is all about." So thank you, Miss Smith. I appreciate you. Miss Lynn and Miss Clevin, y'all doing an awesome job, as secretary and vice president, bringing us together. We still figuring this out. I'm new to this. Okay, so don't get mad at me because I ain't, doing exactly what y'all want me to do right now. I'm learning. Okay, so give me room to grow. Please don't get frustrated at me. Give me room to grow. I'm getting there. I'm a 60-year-old man. Okay, so give me some time to grow. So I appreciate, the Kinders. Thank you for showing up. Miss Phillips, Kinder Q, Mr. Russell, the iPhone, whoever behind Friendship Academy, D Hop,
That's Miss Joe.
Miss Joe. We gonna get that computer working right. And D Hop,
Amen.
I look forward to collaborating with you, my brother. And I challenge everybody. See, this is me. If you can't get on camera, that's fine. But can you at least give us one of your throwback pictures when you was in high school? Let us know what you look. Thank you. Thank you to Clevens. Got your kids on there. Y'all look awesome. So just throw up a picture. You don't have to put I know, late at night we tired and whatever. But throw up a picture and let us see who we talking to, because I can interact better when I see a face. Okay. So anybody have any clothes, Miss Smith or Miss Lynn or Miss Clem? Y'all have any closing statements before we get out of here?
Huh?
No? All right, Miss Smith want to go to bed.
No, thank you everybody for attending. You didn't have to, but you did. So we thank you for that. And then we're just asking for the next meeting, if you could bring one guest with you, be it a scholar or be it someone you know at the school, encourage somebody in our friendship family system to
Mayor.
join us.
Yeah.
So that will be our next challenge. And thank you again. I don't know, are you Dr. Mitchell or Miss Mitchell?
It's
Thank you,
Professor Mitchell.
Professor
And
Mitchell.
I thank you all. I'm working on a PhD. It shows you, even in retirement, never too old to learn. And
Yes,
it's a
and
wonderful experience.
when brother Tony was talking about Anthony doing that nutrition, that's something too that I think will be awesome for our families to get involved in too. So
It's very, very important. I
Yeah.
just want to say thank you to everyone. And I just want to use one word, and hopefully you'll use it. The Dr. Kalingi added was Harambe, which means let's all work together. So Harambe,
Yeah, all the
thank you,
time.
and
Yeah.
God bless.
Yes. Thank you all. And see, the ones who wasn't here tonight, look what they missed. So I'm excited that you're gonna get this on YouTube, Mr. Russell, because we need to share what they're missing. They don't know what they're missing if, until they know they missed something. So God bless y'all. Y'all have a great night, and see you next time.